Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. So it is super hot out right now. This is what, July 24th? Anyways, I just wanted to jump on here really quickly to make a really quick connection with those of you who might be interested in this because things are rapidly changing. I have been, working in like the traditional job market now for a few months, and the difference compared to just even like 2 years ago is crazy. And I've also been, like, if you know me from my other accounts, I've been following a lot of the research in AI, and I've been a critic. It needs more critics, frankly. And I've also been like a student of technological history and theory, so I've already been invested in this area and its trajectories. And basically, what I am thinking and planning on doing is putting together putting together and forming a group for kind of like AI proving us basically against a lot of the adverse consequences that are headed our way. And I'm not trying to be black and white about this. I know all of the other details, like there's little AI in Grammarly, and there's little AI macros and little AI automations like almost everywhere. There's a major difference. We need to understand that critical literacy now involves knowing the difference between the scope and the context and the trajectory and the stakes of every type of automated, algorithmically intelligent, and autonomous type of intelligence. Okay, so these are all distinct nuances, they all have separate meanings. And having a little macro or automation in your word processing system is very different from the kinds of stakes involved in the automation of writing through large language models, as one example. And now you also kind of have to be a person of nuance and complexity seeking to, probably even have begun to follow this. Because to an average person, it might all just sound the same, but actually, no, it's not. There are different things happening, there are different levels of stakes and scopes involved. And more of us are going to be needing to, form groups around people who are sort of trying to get ahead of this, some of these developments, ahead of this research, because it's not all for your benefit. I'm sorry, but not every AI app is really out there for your benefit. We have outlived and outgrown that argument now. New technology is not all about progress. Something being new does not mean that is an instance of progress. In many cases, it's actually creating more problems than it set out to so-called solve. And technological literacy needs to involve this level of understanding. There's a reason that some departments of air traffic control are still using paper to model airplane traffic, and surgeons adopting and still using paper checklists because it actually increases safety and efficacy and precision. And honestly, part of that may be related to the resonance and attunement that these types of systems have with our human perceptual system. So if you want your kids to be, up to speed on the latest in AI and everything, I would start with technological literacy. You need to start with this level of critical media literacy, because now this is completely imbricated with media. And it's not just about knowing how to like use ChatGPT to do whatever writing you want. Like that's not getting anybody. That's not moving you further ahead. That's not really helping critical thinking. You need to be on the levels above that. You can't just be a user and a consumer of this type of technology. Number one, just really briefly, the security gaps and security issues in a lot of public facing generative AI tools. It's just astounding that this is even being deployed into things like Gmail already. I'm not sure if I just recorded that point on the massive security gaps, but there are massive security gaps in public facing AI tools at the moment, in vibe coding tools. Good luck. And you should also be suspicious of the fact that most of the founders and heads and CEOs of some of the companies that initially deployed these tools are now coming out with all these warnings, right? Just in time for like their book release. You know, where were they during the research and development and before the deployment? I mean, it's either we're looking at just hypocrisy or now like a really unethical form of profiting off of the negative consequences. It's not going to be the average person who understands some of the adverse consequences coming this way because of some of these tools. You kind of have to already be on your own kind of critical path for doing this, because otherwise you're just going to miss the nuance. So one of the obvious issues right now already, just within looking at like the traditional job market kind of scenarios, it is not all about like, oh, this is going to make it easier for you to apply for your job. And it's actually, I can already see like sort of the negative feedback effect, because you've got AI tools now kind of like reading for just very specific they're just using, you can tell they're using just very specific kinds of filters based on really rigid types of like titles and pathways. We don't have the language quite here for all of this yet. It's just very palpable. So it's creating actually more rigidity in the system, and I see the inefficiency. It's also already creating, adding more friction in places where there wasn't before. Absolutely adding layers of deception to the process, and having, you know, for example, extra video screenings, pre-screener calls, and that are just evaluated by further, you know, like video reading AI. That's kind of just adding to the issue. And so you can see the kind of like feed forward effect that's happening here, where you've got like the increased amount of automated AI kind of bot submissions, like even directly into a company website, and then just using more AI tools to kind of combat that, to help like weed out more of these resumes, or to just try to find, now that we have the numbers up, just to get like that one very, very precise match, like, oh, this person has this exact title, the AI put in the exact keywords. You've got AI playing off of AI, and it's just ridiculous. And so my point here, you guys, follow me for more on this topic, because this is not going away, and I'm someone who cares about it on this level, and I would like to make some kind of, I'm planning some kind of initiative, some kind of like group, kind of like in advance, preparing for some of these other adverse consequences, because we're not really talking about that enough yet. And yeah, kind of in the same way of like just having like some redundancy in your technology too, because it's very smart to learn how to still live your life without, for example, you know, the internet goes out. A couple years ago in Canada, this happened with half of Canada's, with one of our major internet providers, for about 8 hours. The whole thing was just completely down. Like, it affected ATMs, point of sale systems. So it's no joke, right? Like, to be able to understand like how you can still function day to day with something like that. So this is not Luddite. This is not about like totally living off the grid or something, but this is about having like a super smart kind of like plan B redundancy system in case of some really kinds of strange scenarios that might happen. So feel free to drop other examples that you have come across so far in this regard, and, you know, let me know if you're interested in being part of this. I'm probably going to write about it. I'll produce like a guidebook on, I've already started this actually. I've thought about this now. It's been a while, and certainly that incident where like half of Canada's internet dropped out, you know, really kind of accelerated this. But yeah, thanks for watching and listening, and let me know what you think, if you agree. I really went over this just in like super broad strokes, but you know, the details are all out there too. Didn't quite get into all of those, but you know, this is what's happening, and it's definitely increasing at an increasing rate. So, okay, let me know what you guys think. Where are you at with this?